In the Ukrainian capital, Kyiv, anti-government activists left the Ministry of Agriculture and Food after an apparent conflict between two factions of protesters. Representatives of the mass demonstrations on Independence Square reportedly persuaded the faction called Spilna Sprava, or Common Cause, to vacate the building, which they'd occupied for 5 days. Hundreds of activists continued to gather outside the ministry. In Belarus, family and friends attended the funeral of Mikhail Zhizniovsky, a Belarusian who was killed during anti-government protests in Kyiv. The 25-year-old activist died of a gunshot wound to the chest on January 22nd. He's one of 4 confirmed casualties of the recent clashes in Kyiv. In Pakistan, doctors in the northwestern city of Peshawar protested the rise in targeted killings and kidnappings of medical professionals in recent months. The protesters chanted slogans calling for the government to provide greater security for doctors. They say dozens of their colleagues have been killed or kidnapped and held for ransom by criminal gangs and Islamist militants in the past few months. In Georgia, about 100 school officials protested in front of the Ministry of Education to demand unpaid wages. The employees, mostly young people who help keep order in schools, say they have not been paid for a month amid rumors that the ministry intends to eliminate their positions. Education Minister Tamar Sanakidze met with the protesters and said their salaries will be paid from the state budget. In Moscow, a lone activist staged a ghoulish demonstration at Aeroflot headquarters to protest the arrest of airline union leaders on fraud charges. Union members say Aeroflot wants to increase profits at the cost of passenger safety. The union says its leaders were set up by police under pressure from Aeroflot to undermine the union's power. In the eastern Afghan city of Jalalabad, the country's election commission held a seminar for local media on rules for covering the presidential vote in April. The delegation offered a series of training sessions for journalists on covering the election campaign, which officially begins on February 3rd. In Kazakhstan, some 200 students at the Kazakh National Agrarian Technical University in Astana held a performance in support of President Nursultan Nazarbayev's recent State of the Nation address. It's become a tradition for university officials to organize student actions promoting the speeches of Nazarbayev, who has ruled Kazakhstan for nearly 25 years. And that's the video roundup from Radio Free Europe, Radio Liberty.